I panicked because I lost my mom in a house fire when I was 10.
3 firefighters are recovering from injuries, and a Lehigh home is a total loss after a fire this afternoon.
Plus, new details revealed tonight about the cause of the blaze and impact on neighbors.
Temperatures are on the rise here in Utah. What to expect for your weekend, and also when we're going to see some poor air quality.
It's usually this time of the year that these lavender plants are usually taller, have beautiful blossoms on them. You can smell them from all over, but not this year because one pest has taken over Carly Brewer's garden.
Mounting anger over the issue of homelessness in one Salt Lake City neighborhood.
It's a public health issue for us and for them.
What residents want leaders to understand about what it's like for them to live there.
This is a huge win for our community, and it is only the beginning.
And renewed hope tonight for people living with Alzheimer's disease.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Kelly Chapman. Bob has the night off. We now know the cause of a house fire in Lehigh this afternoon. The fire chief says a child was playing with matches, which started the flames. Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree shows us how neighbors are now dealing with the damage.
Fires are no joke. People get hurt.
Houses you can place, but people you can't.
The smell of smoke coming from their neighbor's house Thursday afternoon scared Parker and Crystal Southwick.
I panicked because I lost my mom in a house fire when I was 10. So it brought memories back.
The side of their home melted from the blaze.
Any closer and our house would have been gone completely too.
But we got damaged, so sucks, but
just glad everybody's okay.
Around 30 firefighters from multiple agencies responded to the fire. 3 members of the crew injured in the process of putting it out.
One of them was heat exhaustion, just super hot today, encapsulated, working hard, just got a little dehydrated. And then we had 2 firefighters that suffered an electrical shock, electrocution, if you will.
Chief Jeremy Kraft says all the officers are making full recoveries. The officer who suffered from the heat was treated on scene. The 2 who were electrocuted were released from the hospital earlier tonight.
There was heavy fire around where we shut the electricity off. So once we got over there and we thought we had shut the electricity off, but something had happened, so it didn't actually turn it off.
Hours after the fire was extinguished, Chief Kraft says they learned a child was playing with matches on the side of the house, and that's how the fire started.
Just teaching your children fire safety is the most important thing. Understanding how powerful fire can be and how much destruction fire can cause if it's not controlled properly.
In Lehigh, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And while the home is a total loss, everyone inside was able to get out safely. An animal control officer and a traffic team sergeant were even able to rescue a dog through the doggy door. In Utah County, a construction worker is in critical condition tonight after a section of a power pole fell on him in Spanish Fork Canyon. The Utah County Sheriff's Office got a 911 call around noon today and arrived on scene to find a 20-year-old man trapped under a piece of the pole. The construction crew has been installing new high transmission power poles in that area. Sergeant Spencer Cannon with the Sheriff's Office says they were able to find the man, all thanks to their Phase 2 technology.
When it comes in on a 911 call, we get a pinpoint location because of the Phase 2 technology in the 911 system, so we knew exactly where it was, but we also know that that area hasn't typically been very easily accessible.
With that pinpoint location, Life Flight was able to come in and fly the man to the nearest hospital. A motorcyclist also in the hospital after crashing with a car this morning in Roy. It happened at 5600 South and 3500 West around 6 a.m. Still not clear what led to this crash. Police said the motorcycle rider was wearing a helmet and suffered serious injuries. The Cedar Knoll fire burning in southern Utah County is now fully contained. State fire officials say smoke jumpers are staying on scene today just in case it sparks back up. Lightning ignited the fire Monday in the Manti La Sal National Forest just east of Highway 89 between Birdseye and Indianola. The fire only burned a few acres. South Weber firefighters are reporting a small fire suspected to be caused by fireworks. It happened this morning on Cornea Drive near Weber Basin Job Corps. Firefighters say the fire was less than an acre and they were able to get it out quickly. No structures were threatened. The legal fireworks window for 4th of July ended last night. Another hot day. It was so weird, Allison. I woke up to such overcast gray skies and I kept thinking and saying, you know, oh, we're going to get rain. It's coming. We're going to cool down a little bit. But
I bet you if you checked
case.
your cameras, you might have had a little bit of rain around 3, 4 a.m. this morning. Not a lot. We need a lot more for our grass outside as we've got a very hot stretch ahead of us. So we will take any free rain that we can get from Mother Nature. High pressure is building. What that means for you is a lot of heat and a lot of sunshine throughout the forecast. Last 7 days, you've got temperatures that were made it to 101 on Monday. That was our first and only triple-digit day so far this year. Yesterday, 91. Today, we made it to 92 degrees. 92 is an average high for this time of year, so we were right on track today for this point in July. Temperatures right now, 70s and 80s here across the state. Still a few showers, Duchesne, Uinta Basin, as we looked over towards Roosevelt, and then drifting through the West Desert here in northwest and western Utah. We look across the region and we're going to have some more unsettled weather, mainly across northern Utah for tomorrow. Warm and windy across the southern part of the state, so we will continue with some red flag warnings again tomorrow for southeastern Utah. Those are fire weather warnings that'll start at noon tomorrow. Salt Lake City, about 70 when you wake up tomorrow morning. Ogden, 67. Provo, 64. What to expect the rest of the weekend coming up.
Thanks, Allison. A large group of Gateway residents and businesses taking their concerns about the impact of the unsheltered population in the area to the city. As Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold shows us, that led to Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall hosting a town hall with other city officials about what they have done to address homelessness.
It's a part of a long, hard dialogue about homelessness, and this is an interested community.
Kate Kopishki is a condo owner in the Gateway.
A lot of this, maybe even the impetus for this conversation started with a proposal to expand the Wagon Center.
Something Kopishki says comes with concerns about what that could mean for the neighborhood.
It's already super impacted with litter, and I mean, there's all manner of trash and shoes and clothing and needles and on the street. It blows down the street, and can't ride your bike on the Folsom Trail without having to navigate people.
Gateway residents and businesses coming together at a town hall meeting Thursday afternoon asking for immediate enforcement of unsanctioned camping and loitering to improve community safety.
Probably 2019 or maybe early 2020, the city was very much feeling alone in talking about with homeless services.
The town hall, hosted by Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall, who was joined by other city officials, including Andrew Johnston, the director of homeless policy for Salt Lake.
If we have more housing, we can move them into housing. We need partnerships.
Fox 13 News received this statement from Catholic Community Services. They say, quote, the Wiegand Resource Center is undergoing renovations that will update the building and add 6,000 square feet to the facility. The upgrades being made to the facility will allow us to continue providing vital services to those experiencing homelessness in a more effective way. It will allow them the space to establish both walk-in and long-term mental health services on site. They went on to say they value being a good neighbor to everyone in the community, and for that reason, they've had open communication with those in the area who are concerned about the renovations and are working together to resolve those concerns.
The mayor talked a lot about some of the creative solutions. I think people needed to hear that, and we need to just get more engaged.
No decisions were made at the town hall on Thursday. In Salt Lake, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
This made me fall in love with Minerva Teichert.
Her art is considered hugely important to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But an exhibit of her life's work is being overshadowed by a legal battle. Plus, is the app that could kill off Twitter finally here? What we're learning about Threads and how Twitter CEO Elon Musk is looking to take down this new competitor. And a Tooele County woman's crops are ruined for the season, all because of grasshoppers. What she plans to do next.
The Jazz played their third and final Summer League game tonight in Salt Lake City. Did they end it with a win? I'll tell you coming up.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is launching a new exhibition of a renowned artist. It includes rarely seen works, and as Fox 13 News reporter Ben Winslow tells us, some are the subject of litigation.
The murals immediately tell a story.
She uses her art to tell important stories, and for her, those stories are stories from Scripture, and stories of the Latter-day Saint migration to the West and stories of the Western United States. She was a deeply rooted Westerner, born in Utah, raised in Idaho, lived most of her adult life in Wyoming, and really felt the call and the pull of the West.
The works of Minerva Teichert are a part of a new exhibit at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints' History Museum, celebrating her life and legacy. She painted what she knew.
She used what she had. She used tent canvas, particle board, wood.
Many of the works were created in a tiny ranch house in Cokeville, Wyoming.
This made me fall in love with Minerva Teichert.
Minerva Teichert was a prolific painter. Her works appear in public buildings, chapels all over the western United States, and many of these paintings come from different sources, including one that wound up at a Deseret Industries, tossed away.
Someone at the DI noticed that that looked important, called the museum and said, I think you should look at this. And when it came into the museum, there were grass clippings in the frame, and it was really dirty. It obviously had been kept in someone's garage.
Some of these paintings are the subject of a legal battle in the courts right now. One of Teichert's descendants is suing the church, accusing them of taking some paintings that don't belong to them and violating copyrights. Attorneys for the Teichert family did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the exhibition.
The church maintains that those lawsuits are without merit and are in the process of defending against those lawsuits.
Many of the works in this exhibit have been faithfully restored.
It's a painstaking process to get them ready.
This is all that remains of one work that was destroyed in a fire at the Provo Tabernacle.
This piece, we had managed to get it photographed after it was conserved, so that's how we have this wonderful image here.
In Salt Lake City, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Utah State University, in partnership with the Cox Henderson administration, found 100 local businesses that claim to be championing women. USU professor Dr. Susan Madsen decided to follow up on each of these businesses to find out exactly what they're doing to provide these professional spaces for women. The researchers found some very interesting commonalities.
We were kind of surprised, and I was pleased. About 84% of these companies, or 84 companies, were doing specific work around pay equity.
They also found about 90% of companies surveyed continue to offer flexible work hours as well as flexible location after the end of the COVID-19 pandemic. If you've driven around Ogden recently, you might have noticed some colorful fire hydrants, and the colors mean more than just decoration here. Take a look. Ogden Fire is color coding their fire hydrants so the firefighters can quickly assess the flow rate of each of the hydrants. Red indicates the lowest flow, and then the blue and green hydrant, you see the yellow one there on your screen, that means they have the highest flow. Some farms in Utah are dealing with a pest that producers can't seem to get rid of. Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi takes us to a garden in Eden that looks different this year, introducing us to the reason why.
If you step into Carly Brewer's garden, that's the sound you hear.
It's pretty devastating when you put so much time and effort into it. It's a year-long prep for this harvest, and it doesn't come.
A lavender farm.
You can just see how they like chainsawed them down. There's nothing.
Without lavender. Why? Grasshoppers of all sizes everywhere.
As soon as I was out here working in the yard and I saw the little grasshoppers coming in, that's when I started to get discouraged, because I know that they're just going to get bigger.
Carly says that in about 2 weeks from now is when she would typically harvest her beautiful lavender here. The stems would be taller, there'd be blossoms on them, but not this year because the grasshoppers ate through the blossoms as well. Carly makes and sells lavender products through her company. It's called Lavender Hill, Utah. She harvested lavender this year from a friend's garden to sustain her business.
Not having the lavender really impacts my business. Not having the garden, I really enjoy fresh fruit. Just get on the edge of that and they just chomp it. And you can see how they eat the stalks.
This year, it's either her plants are eaten up.
My mom says, well, you've been known as the lavender lady for 18 years. Now you can be known as the grasshopper lady.
Or the land is bare.
When I saw the grasshoppers, I just decided not to do a garden this year because I didn't want to fight the battle.
Christopher Watson, the state entomologist, says that these increases in the grasshopper populations happen in a cycle every few years, and state agencies can step in if you need help.
An endemic pest, meaning they're essentially native, and there's no intention to eradicate the pest or remove it from our great state. It's just a matter of managing the pest so that they're not such an economic burden on our producers.
For Carly, it's hard to look at her garden, but she is staying hopeful.
It's a loss. The plants look fine enough, so I'm hoping that they will survive for next year, and I'll put in another year of hope into next year's harvest, but it's just really hard.
In Eden, I am Maithili Gubbi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Fire weather warnings for southeastern Utah today and again for tomorrow. We look at some gusty conditions here across the state right now down towards Hanksville. We've got our wind gusting about 30 miles per hour. So we do have some warm temperatures again on the way here across the state for tomorrow. Temperatures right now here across Utah, mainly about 80 to 85 for Provo, Salt Lake, Ogden, 70s for Logan, 60s for Manti right now, 95 in St. George. And for the Wasatch Front tonight, mostly clear, partly cloudy for tomorrow morning and hot throughout the day tomorrow. Air quality, unfortunately, is on the decline. Beautiful view looking from Salt Lake City right now. Still quite cloudy, but we will see those clouds starting to thin out just a little bit into early tomorrow morning, becoming partly cloudy. And for the Wasatch Front commute tomorrow morning near 70. Tomorrow evening, Friday night, it'll be in the low 90s. Still a few sprinkles possible, mainly up towards Davis County here in just a bit. We head into the overnight hours, and we will have that potential again this evening for some areas of mainly light rain across the northern Wasatch Front. We've had storm activity mostly firing up in the Uinta Basin today and in the Uintas. And again, tomorrow we're going to continue with some more unsettled weather across the northern part of the state. We'll also see the wind again ramping up tomorrow, primarily in southern Utah. So it's going to be a warm and a windy day. Temperatures Friday at 6 a.m. close to about 60 degrees for Eagle Mountain, Delta, 65 for Provo, low 70s for Tooele, close to 70 for Ogden tomorrow morning, mid 50s for Evanston and the Cache Valley, Park City near 50 tomorrow morning, St. George close to 70. For the Wasatch Front tomorrow, our temperatures rise into the 90s right around lunchtime tomorrow, and we'll keep you there for several hours. It'll end up being a pretty hot day. St. George 102 for tomorrow, 103 on Saturday, closer to 105 Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then we are trending up by the end of the 7-day forecast, close to 110 by next Wednesday and Thursday. For Salt Lake City tomorrow, partly cloudy. We do have the chance for a little bit of unsettled weather across northern Utah, similar to our chance that we had today and yesterday. So we're going to keep those best chances, especially towards the Uinta Basin and then across the northern Wasatch Front. For northern Utah, on Saturday, sunny, 94. We've got high pressure building this weekend, and what that means is we're going to have a long stretch of a whole lot of nothing going on here. So we are close to the century mark Sunday through the rest of the 7-day forecast. Overnight temperatures will be about 70 to 75 degrees for overnight lows for the next week. So comfortable mornings, but for tomorrow, air quality unhealthy for sensitive groups. UV index tomorrow will be extreme, so all great reasons to get outside early. I'll show you the 2-week temperature outlook coming up in just a bit. We'll be right back.
In national news tonight, it is the battle of the tech billionaires. Elon Musk announcing on Twitter that he is suing Mark Zuckerberg over Meta's new text-based app called Threads, seen by many as an alternative to Twitter. It's only been out a day, but it's garnered an impressive following so far. Scripps News national correspondent Vanessa Michanya explains what Threads is and shows us what the buzz is about.
Elon Musk is throwing down the gauntlet against fellow tech billionaire Mark Zuckerberg for creating Threads, the new text-based app from Instagram that is challenging Twitter. It's already gained more than 30 million users in its first day of operation. A letter from Twitter lawyer Alex Spiro was sent to Meta Wednesday accusing Zuckerberg's company of hiring former Twitter employees who, quote, had and continue to have access to Twitter's trade secrets, and that Twitter intends to strictly enforce its intellectual property rights and demands that Meta take immediate steps to stop using any Twitter trade secrets. And while Elon Musk hasn't directly mentioned the possibility of a suit, he responded to a tweet about the potential legal action with, quote, competition is fine, cheating is not.
It's still the early days. It's not exactly the same as Twitter. There are a lot of things we're going to have to get used to, and there are different communities on each.
While Twitter may be nervous, Threads is a little different than Twitter, according to CNET tech and trend expert Bridget Carey. While regular users on Twitter can post up to 280 characters on their tweets, Thread users can post up to 500. But paying Twitter Blue subscribers can post up to 10,000 characters on their tweets. And on Twitter, you can post videos up to 2 minutes long, while Threads users can post videos of up to 5 minutes long. Celebrities have been joining the bandwagon too. Shakira threading out, well, hello, Threads. Gordon Ramsay asking, is this where he finds the lamb sauce? And YouTube sensation Mr. Beast asking how long it'll be until we're addicted to this too. While many seem to be having fun with a new digital experience, Carey says for longevity, users will have to feel comfortable, something some Twitter users have felt less of since Musk's takeover.
To be a really successful social media company right now, it needs to be a place that's safe, a place that is trusted, that you are trusting what you're seeing online, and it needs to be a place that is just easy to use and useful.
Vanessa Mishanya, Scripps News, Seattle.
Excitement over plans to build a come-and-go station next to Sugar House Park is squashed. Why a planning commission blocked it, and what's next.
A new scam is hitting Tooele County, and it's the first time the state has ever seen something like this. I called the scammers myself to see what could happen.
As more and more people get out into Utah's great outdoors, state parks are having to adapt.
Expectations seem to be low, at least by the media, on where BYU football team will finish this year in their first season in the Pac-12. I'll show you where they're ranked coming up.
We do have breaking news to tell you about coming out of southern Utah. A former Utah Tech football player has died. According to the school, on Sunday morning, 21-year-old Brian O'Neill died while at his family's house in St. George. Now, the cause of his death has not been shared. He joined the football program in 2020. However, he battled through injuries throughout his collegiate career and did not appear in any games for the Trailblazers. The Utah Tech Director of Intercollegiate Athletics shared, quote, "Our thoughts and prayers are with his family, friends, teammates, and all who were touched by his remarkable life." Well, a very busy corner of Salt Lake City will be empty for a while longer. Come and Go lost an appeal to put a gas station right on a plot of land near Sugar House Park. Fox 13 News reporter Lucy Nelson breaks down the history of that little lot and its possible future as what lies ahead has stirred debate within the Sugar House community.
When looking at the plot of land on the northwest end of Sugar House Park.
Oh, vacant lot?
Mm-hmm.
Ugly?
A common descriptor comes to mind.
It's ugly.
Atop the now overgrown and cracked cement sits the structure of what used to be Sizzler's restaurant.
A steakhouse with the best salad bar around.
Which shut down around 3 years ago. Land use chair of Sugar House Community Council Judy Short says it's odd. When the land was turned from the state prison site into a park in the 1950s, this same plot stayed separate.
There were small businesses, including another gas station. All those seemed to have been absorbed into parkland, but this corner was not.
She says a few developers have eyed the small 0.8-acre site since then, but the most serious proposal goes to Come and Go. The company's appeal denied Wednesday by appeals hearing officer Mary Woodhead. In a 7-page decision, Woodhead says it was within the scope of the Planning Commission to consider that a gas station off of a freeway exit would bring additional traffic to an already difficult intersection, and that, given the purpose of the use, mitigation in the form of fewer cars is not possible.
I think it was the right decision to make.
Short says while traffic was a concern, so was the impact of fuel on the purposeful overflow site below it.
If it overflowed more than that, it would be absorbed into that earthen dam. And that's part of the city water supply. So, it could potentially pollute that.
Come and Go has 30 days to appeal to a state court to try and overturn the rulings and move forward with a gas station. They and their soon-to-be new owners, Maverick, did not respond Thursday for comment. Meanwhile, Short says what lies ahead for the little lot, whether it's another business or it's absorbed by the park, is piquing public interest. Just some ideas thrown out by park goers.
Just a covered area, because I know there's a lot of homeless people over there.
A fun place for kids, since we are in a park, maybe another little fun thing that they would have.
A good-looking guy.
In Sugar House, Lucy Nelson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A new scam is circling around Tooele County trying to trick property owners thinking that they owe tens of thousands of dollars. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser spoke with the State Tax Commission, who says a fake letter looks very professional, which is why they are concerned.
Property owners in Tooele, beware. There's a letter making rounds claiming to be from the county, but the assessor's office says it's all a scam.
This is the first one I've seen. So that's what kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit. Is normally property tax is kind of not really one they go after.
It's a letter sent June 23rd telling this person there's a judgment filed against them for unpaid taxes. They included estimate penalty and interest costs and told them they owed over $46,000.
That's when you got to start asking questions, because if it's out of nowhere, chances are there's something not legit about it.
That's Darren Houghton with the Division of Aging and Adult Services. He says older Utahns typically are the target for expensive scams.
The high dollar amounts are seniors because they have it and they're easy to trust.
There are a few typos sprinkled in, as well as the wrong logo, a fake Tooele County notice number, and a phone number.
Go to their website and see if that number appears anywhere on their website. If it doesn't, you should start questioning a little bit further.
The numbers do not match up, so I'm going to give it a call and see what happens. The 8-minute phone call consisted of her telling me she works for a group of licensed tax practitioners and gave me an illegitimate website when I pressed further. Yeah, it says this website can't be found. Scammers are unfortunately getting smarter, so make sure you're on your guard always.
So I think we're going to have to become a little bit more suspicious and a little bit more sophisticated in recognizing them.
In Tooele, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, coming up, Utah's state parks in the middle of record-breaking visitors, but that means the state is paying up just to keep up, and it's costing millions. We'll be right back. A new Intermountain Health program allows pharmacists to prescribe hormonal birth control to adult women in Utah through telehealth visits after changes to Utah law. The changes apply to basic hormonal birth control that women can self-administer. Intermountain Health hopes that having pharmacists prescribe birth control will free up appointments for women's health specialists such as OBGYNs. Salt Lake County Animal Services says after all the 4th of July fireworks the past few days, they have found 21 lost dogs and 16 lost cats. If you or someone you know is missing your cat or dog and thinks Salt Lake County Animal Services might have them, they encourage you to swing by their office between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday.
If you visited any of our state parks on the weekends and even during the week now, many run out of space at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Utah's state park system is seeing a massive surge in visitation. And to keep up with demand, hundreds of millions of dollars are being spent to upgrade facilities all across Utah. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow has the story from Summit County.
It was an unusual type of ribbon cutting ceremony to commemorate a brand new Echo State Park.
We have new restrooms throughout the park. We have a whole new campground down there with running water, sewer, electric, everything. And the whole parking lot just paved, asphalted, over 150 boat parking.
There's also a new beach for people to enjoy a picnic and these tiny home cabins for people who want to stay overnight. They're complete with kitchens and bathrooms. The upgrades at Echo and nearby Rockport are in response to demand.
People love to be outdoors, and having the state parks and the additional amenities that are being offered now with the upgrades, it's massive.
The Utah State Park System was already seeing a growing number of visitors, but the COVID-19 pandemic made it surge.
The pandemic had a major impact on outdoor recreation in general. I recreate outdoors, And I've seen it when I'm out fishing and boating and hiking. There's just more people enjoying the outdoors.
Across Utah, state-run parks are breaking records when it comes to visitation. The governor and legislature have begun emphasizing outdoor recreation, and with that comes improvements. More upgrades are in the works at other state parks.
The legislature has made several major investments into our Utah state parks. Over $200 million worth of general fund money and also money that we collect at our state parks to be able to build facilities like this.
The McConkey family is enjoying it. So what do you think of the park so far?
It's really pretty.
It's a great feeling to have, right? To see them come in, create their memories at such a nice, beautiful park.
At Echo State Park, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Medicare will now cover a new drug studies show slows the progression of Alzheimer's, giving hope for millions of people struggling with the disease. What health experts are saying coming up.
And coming up in sports, we'll hear from BYU quarterback Caden Slovis, and I'll tell you where the BYU football team was picked in the Big 12 preseason poll. And the Jazz wrapped up the Salt Lake City Summer League. Could they end it with a win? The highlights are on the way.
This could be a breakthrough, certainly a first and a sign of hope for the millions of Alzheimer's patients in the U.S. The Food and Drug Administration has given full approval to a drug that can slow down the memory-robbing disease, and Medicare says they'll cover most of the expensive costs. Scripps News Science and Health correspondent Lindsay Thies has the latest.
This Leqembi drug is not a cure. It does not bring back memories. It slightly slows down a patient from getting worse. But moving through the regulatory process with full FDA approval, that is something that is a big step in the fight against this neurodegenerative disease. From accelerated approval to full FDA approval, the change makes Leqembi the first FDA-approved Alzheimer's drug to slow the progression of the disease.
It gives us the confidence now to say, hey, something works.
Studies show Leqembi slowed cognitive decline by 27% after 18 months compared to placebo. It's for patients with mild cognitive impairment and early dementia symptoms. The IV antibody treatment is recommended once every 2 weeks. The drug tackles a hallmark of Alzheimer's, a brain protein called beta amyloid, but it comes with rare risks. In the clinical trials, some cases of fluid on the brain and brain bleeds were reported. The price tag, more than $26,000 a year, and that does not include costs for scans or doctor follow-ups. But with full FDA approval, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid immediately begin covering costs for more people, as long as those patients participate in clinical research registries to follow up on how the med does.
You know, after 800 negative trials that each cost anywhere from a few million to $100 million, I realized that, you know, pharmaceutical companies have invested a lot. And I understand from their point of view, they have to earn some of it back. But I hope to God that it doesn't prevent any of my poor clients from having access to this medication.
Earlier this year, we introduced you to Pam Montana. She's living with early onset Alzheimer's disease. For patients like her, time is everything.
This isn't what I wanted. You know, I'd rather be working. And, you know, doing things that I can do on myself, because a lot of things I can't anymore. I don't remember when it was, it might have been yesterday. And I couldn't do math, like at all. And I tried like 5 times to figure out like how to carry it over. And I'm like, okay, I'm done.
This move, experts hope, can get more patients like Pam help. Amyloid-targeting drugs are just the first step here. Medicines looking at tau proteins and inflammation, those are also being studied. Dr. Schultz puts it this way: this move is similar to the early cancer drug days in the 1970s, in that potentially from 5 to 10 years from now, we could see things like one patient may get one drug for dementia, someone else who has dementia may get a couple of different ones. Lindsay Thies, Scripps News, San Francisco.
Well, I wanted to go ahead and just check in on our smoky sky forecast for the next couple of days, because you'll hear us talking about our air quality and its ozone problems that are in the forecast for us here in Utah. But if you'll remember a week ago how smoky it was into the Midwest and into the Northeast because of the Canadian wildfires. There's still fires burning to our north, but as far as the air quality conditions that we're going to have here in Utah over the next couple of days, those are going to be summer ozone problems. Right now, temperature of 77 in Tooele, 82 for Farmington and Ogden, 50s for Alta currently, 63 for Heber, low 80s right now in Provo, 81 for Harriman, 77 in Draper, 77 for the Cache Valley, mid-70s for the Uinta Basin, and for St. George currently 95 degrees. Here's what I want you to know. We still have the chance for some spotty showers. So if you see some lightning tonight off in the distance up towards Colville, that's what we're tracking. The possibility of some pretty random isolated thunderstorms, mainly across northern Utah. Tonight possible, and then again, and we have that possibility as we head into your Friday with just some more unsettled weather across the region. It's really been the vernal area, the Uinta Basin, that has been the most active. Into tonight, the chance for some passing showers. Nothing that will ruin your plans, ruin your morning. In fact, I think it'll be welcomed if many of you get rain, because we're going to have a really hot stretch ahead of us over the next couple of days, and we will take any relief we can get from Mother Nature. So heading into Friday morning, it'll be about 60 to 70 degrees here along the Wasatch Front. Temperatures by Friday at 5 p.m. around 90 to 95 degrees, with a chance of precipitation in Ogden low throughout the next week. So we head into tomorrow, we're tracking the possibility of some very spotty showers across northern Utah and a lot of heat. St. George, you've got a dry 7-day forecast, and take a look at our precipitation forecast over the next 7 days. A lot of rain, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, over towards Mississippi. Here across Utah, we are dealing with dry conditions for at least the next week for the most part. St. George 102 tomorrow, 103 on Saturday, close to 105 into next week, closer to 110 by next Wednesday and Thursday. For Salt Lake, 95 tomorrow, 94 on Saturday, and then we are close to that century mark starting on Sunday. Heading into week 2, temperature outlook for days 8 to 14, above average temperatures through the middle part of July. All right, same time frame, we continue with drier than usual conditions for week 2. So for days 8 to 14, the 14th of July through the 20th of July, we are going to have above average temperatures, and a normal high this time of year is 92. So our entire 7-day forecast is above average, and then next week will also be above average as far as our 2-week outlook, and it will also be dry. So some pretty big fire concerns as we're reaching that critical level here across the state. Stay safe. Air quality tomorrow, unhealthy for sensitive groups, UV index extreme.
The Salt Lake City Summer League came to an end tonight. The Jazz played their third and final game against the Memphis Grizzlies, still looking for that first win. First-round picks Taylor Hendricks and Bryce Sensabaugh missed their third games. That's Sensabaugh there with Coach Will Hardy. The other rookie back out there, Keontae George, rises up, knocks down the three. He had 15 points and 5 assists. Ochai Agbaji got off to a slow start, but he got it going in the second half. Pulls up, drains one of his 5 3-pointers. Then how about the back and forth between George and Agbaji? Ochai lays it in. He finished with 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists. Here's one ahead of them. To head to Johnny Juzang. Sets up, fires the three, and it's good. He had 15 points off the bench. Jazz pulled away in the fourth quarter. George the alley-oop to Agbaji. Jazz get the win 98-83. They'll now head to the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. Well, expectations apparently pretty low for the BYU football team in their first season in the Big 12 Conference, at least according to the media that cover the league. The Cougars picked to finish 11th out of 14 teams in the media preseason poll. Texas was picked to finish first ahead of Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and TCU. BYU is the second highest ranked team among the 4 new teams in the league. UCF is 8th, Houston is 12th, Cincinnati 13th. Big 12 Media Days are next week. Fox 13 Sports will be there. It's been over 6 months since quarterback Caden Slovis transferred to BYU in his final season, and though there may have been some awkward moments at first, Fox 13's Morgan Vance explains that's all water under the bridge.
September 14th, 2019, a young quarterback out of Scottsdale, Arizona got his first taste of BYU.
Welcome to one of the most beautiful settings in college football. The Cougars looking to knock off another Power 5 foe.
USC freshman Kedon Slovis making his second career start.
Slovis with time and wide open in the end zone is Pittman.
This, however, is what it looked like at the end of the game, with the Cougars upsetting the nationally ranked Trojans in overtime. All the while, Slovis managed to make a few judgments while here.
Provo's a weird place. Like, we kind of joke.
We're cutting that one out.
I heard it's like a Twilight Zone. You ever seen The Truman Show?
Cutting it up on the Momentum Truck podcast. There was plenty more.
People are like smiling, like, thank you for coming to play.
We're glad you're here.
They're all Mormon, right?
Slovis threw 28 touchdown balls that year, but was eventually forced out of SC, only to play last season on the opposite coastline at Pitt.
When I look at why I committed there and what I wanted out of my last year, it just wasn't what I wanted anymore.
So last December, back in the portal he goes, where guess who needed a face and an arm to ease them into the Big 12?
Now when I look at it, I was like, this is exactly the offense I want to play in with the players around me, the guys up front, and the conference. Great schedule.
And yet, if you could only delete the internet.
And they're like not cussing, they're like, Slovis, you stink.
So it sounds like BYU fans either failed to take it personally or forgave you. Safe to say?
Yeah, no, it's been mostly positive, to be honest. I think most people took it as a compliment. Demeanor of how nice people are here and how they treat you. I was running at halftime not playing well. BYU people are telling me, hey, it's all right, you'll be better next half. So I feel like I've just been given kind of that treatment as a player now.
Only 11 guys who played opposite Slovis 4 years ago remain on the roster, with only 2, Max Tooley and CJ Ayu, getting significant minutes that day. Fast forward to now, it's a fresh start for everyone.
I just wasn't sure I was going to fit in, different culture a little bit, but it's been seamless, made a ton of friends. I wish I could tell myself then, like, hey man, don't worry about it, it's going to be great, and probably one of the better experiences you've had in college football.
Morgan Vance, Fox 13 Sports.
The Salt Lake Bees continued their series at home against the Sacramento River Cats. Jordan Adams drives to the gap in left center field. That's a double, scoring a pair of runs. Bees were up 5-4 in the fourth inning, but the River Cats rallied back to win the game 13-6. On the PGA Tour, Utah native and former BYU Cougar Zach Blair, a good opening round at the John Deere Classic. Nice approach shot on the 14th, set up a birdie. He's tied for 23rd at 3 under par, and another former BYU Cougar, Peter Quest, tied for 14th at 4 under par. Utah native Grace Summerhays playing in the U.S. Women's Open at Pebble Beach. Birdie putt on the 3rd hole. She also made birdies at 17 and 18. The 2020 Utah Women's State Amateur Champion is tied for 66th at 3 over par. BYU golfer Alicia Mateo is 10 over par. Good to see all those.
Playing really well.
Yes, and her brother played in the U.S. Open.
Oh, wow.
And now the sister playing in the U.S. Women's Open. Incredible. They're both golfers at Arizona State, but grew up in Utah.
Utah
Davis
is
County.
really, more and more names now on the tours. People from Utah.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Thanks,
Keep
Jeff.
it up.
We'll be right back. Thanks, everyone, for watching tonight. QuickCast is next.